Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. This is Paul Catalina's Top 5 at 5:55, presented by Champion Salon and Barber. To book your appointment, go to championsalonandbarber.com.
Welcome back. Sikkim 365 Radio, 365 Sports. Paul Catalina, David Smoak, Craig Smoak. Okay, this is a running list. I will do these top fives as long as I get 5 people that I can put in for them. And this is going to be this is top 5 college football free drinks for life list. This is Texas schools. But if you're from a school, it doesn't have to be college football. It can be college basketball. You can throw in a college baseball, people, whatever you want.
What?
I'll make a list. There's probably some people in college baseball towns.
What was that left-hander for LSU hit the game-winning grand slam or
Walter
whatever?
Morris. Yeah. So you Walter Morris or do you think Phil Nevin pays for beer at Fullerton?
Yep.
No. He does. Pepperdine. Fullerton. At Fullerton, no, he doesn't. So here you go. These are the top 5 Texas schools. So I just did Texas schools this time because that's my reach. But if you have others, please send it to me at Paul Catalina on Twitter or chat room or text 254-339-1122. I will get them on the list. And number 1 for Baylor is one. This is outsourced. These are completely outsourced from the crowd. Okay. One of these I made a command decision on, but the rest were completely outsourced. Number 5, Texas Tech, Michael Crabtree. This is the one that Texas Tech people told me. I thought maybe it would be Graham Harrell, but then I guess, seeing as how Texas Tech treats their ex-quarterbacks, maybe it's not. So I Michael Crabtree has the big catch against Texas. No drinks. No tab for Michael Crabtree.
He walks in to a Hooters in Lubbock, he gets a free beer or whatever it was.
I don't even know if anybody goes there anymore. At least not the one in Waco. But I was in Lubbock around that time. I'm pretty sure he never paid for drinks back then either.
Yeah.
But the reason why not Graham Harrell is because Graham Harrell's just one of like 7 other Tech quarterbacks that all could be lumped into the same category. It's him. It's Sonny Cumbie. It's all those guys that played under Leach, basically. And there's nothing that really differentiates him other than the fact that he's the one that threw that famous pass to Michael Crabtree. Mm-hmm. Name another Tech receiver real quick that matters. Wes Welker, there's guys like that, but
Michael he matters Crabtree, more later than
Michael Crabtree is the guy. I mean,
but in a moment, a game that beats Texas or someone like that.
But even if he wasn't the guy that caught that pass, he's still Michael Crabtree. He's still the best receiver they've ever had. And so, Michael Crabtree for sure never has to pay for a drink in Lubbock. Yeah. But that Texas moment, that just sealed his legacy and everything else. And let's not talk about what happened when they went to Oklahoma right after that.
Yeah, that wasn't pretty. Number 4, Bucky Richardson, Texas A&M. Now, look, I got several on this. One of them, and Bucky Richardson, we go way back. We're talking 1991, 92, 93, Bucky Richardson. But this guy rarely lost to Texas, if at all, was in the midst of A&M's, I think, longest winning streak against the Horns. Plus, he was just the personification of an Aggie football player in the 90s, a converted linebacker who was an option quarterback, was Mr. R.C. Sloak. I mean, just absolute up and down. People in College Station loved Bucky Richardson. Now, I was a little torn here. Some people would tell you Johnny Manziel, and I would think that Johnny Manziel being on the free drink list worked to his detriment, so I took him off. Number 2 would have been Dat Nguyen. Now, here's what I'll tell you about Dat Nguyen. Dat Nguyen could very easily make this list, but I've been in bars with Dat Nguyen, and the problem is the minute you buy Dat Nguyen a drink, he will buy you 7 more.
Yeah.
So he kind of counteracts the whole purpose.
Yeah. We've had some great Super Bowl week dinners with him.
Yeah, he's a fantastic human being, Dat Nguyen. So is Bucky, but I've not gotten the chance. But Bucky Richardson was a dominant player in the Southwest Conference too.
Now Calzada's gone now, so they don't buy him because he transferred after that Alabama game.
He might get 50% off his tab for the Alabama game.
All right.
Yeah, Calzada has to go off this list. Number 3, and this is obvious for the University of Texas. This is Vince Young. I don't think Vince Young pays for anything at Texas in Austin. I mean, like drinks, food. A house, car.
He's a great player. Tickets.
I mean, it's Vince Young. I don't think really anything else needs to be said. I mean, and there's not even a close second. I mean, maybe you could say like Ricky Williams or something, but I mean, it's Vince there's only one guy I feel like in the history of Texas that competes with Earl Campbell, and it's Vince Young.
That's right.
Yeah. And so there you go.
Yeah, even some of the old guys, it depends on your age, but yeah, he's.
I know there's plenty of other, but like, I mean, as far as like legendary status, it's Earl and it's Vince in my opinion. And I know there's Cedric and Ricky and all, but it's Earl and Vince.
Yeah, Ricky won a Heisman, but Vince is like this much. I mean, just it is because
Vince won the Rose Bowl and then another Rose Bowl, national title after that.
It took him for them to win their first since 1970, and they haven't won anything since. So it would have been 51 years had it not been for a Vince Young.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 2, LaDainian Tomlinson, Waco native from TCU. This might very well be the greatest player in the history of the Horned Frogs.
Oh, they've got
old timer
Davey O'Brien.
Yeah.
I mean, but no, LT is, and he's very beloved there.
Should be beloved everywhere. He's a great human being.
Great, he is.
So.
He is.
Yeah, LaDainian is a good dude and a great Waco native. Although he's originally from
Marlin.
Marlin, yeah. But yeah, he's a tremendous representative for the area and the city, and he's the best TCU player. I mean, other than like a Davey O'Brien, he is definitely on the free drinks list.
Okay, now this one is going to shock you guys, but again, I'm telling you, I'm repeating, this was outsourced.
I know who it is.
This was outsourced, and this was the one who was overwhelmingly. I mean, he beat out guys like RG3.
It's interesting because
he beat out
the way
Terrence
it ended
Williams. He
for
beat
him.
all these people, but because of who he is. And what he did and what he means to this generation of Baylor football, it is Jalen. He beat out Jaron McVay. It's Jalen PITRE. It is Jalen PITRE. The most people about Baylor who tweeted me said it was Jalen PITRE because he was the guy. The only guy after the scandal who stayed in the recruiting class and turned into a superstar for that Baylor team.
I would have probably
all-American.
not mentioned him in my top 5.
I wouldn't have either.
Yeah, maybe in my top 10 I would have. Maybe we're doing strictly football, right?
Yeah.
He definitely still wouldn't have been in my top 5. I'd had a RG3, Bryce Petty, any number of guys, but he'd be close. That makes. I mean, it's kind of surprising, and then again, you think about it, it's really not. There's not a single negative thing you could say about this young man, on or off the field. Dude's done it in the classroom. He's going to have, all of his business affairs taken care of, and he's going to have a football career to keep going with for the foreseeable future. But we know that when football ends, he's going to be just fine. He's going to be great, and he's going to be great at whatever he does. He is a freaking stud, man. I mean, Jalen PITRE, really, him and Terrell Bernard, but that dude's a stud, and never could have imagined when he was the only guy sitting in that recruiting class after Kellen Mond and Hezekiah Jones and Kedrick James,
Jamon
Osbin, like all those guys that bailed. Baron Browning, although Browning decommitted before Browse was fired, but still, like that recruiting class. Remember how excited everybody got, and I'm like, it's April, it's very early.
Yep.
But that would have been a different looking recruiting class, and he's the only one that stayed. And then eventually they filled it out with Matt Rule, and he turned into the stud that he turned into.
I thought it would have been overwhelmingly your Heisman Trophy winner, Robert Griffin III, but Jalen PITRE. I mean,
I think
mops
there's a
to the
sentiment
floor,
there.
and it's maybe prisoners of the moment a little bit. But I did this as an outsourced list. I will keep doing them, so send them to me. Like if you're thinking Fred Hoiberg or whoever at Iowa State, for basketball. I mean, he's got sandwiches named after him. I mean, that's kind of the ultimate. But I want that list. I want those guys. That's who I want to hear from. That's what I hear. So
it's Paul. .Catalina, or is it straight up at iCloud.com?
Yeah, Paul Catalina at iCloud.com if you want to email me as well.
I know we got to go. I got 3 things I want to tie up loose ends here. We're talking about Ron Franklin yesterday and the cause of his passing. I mentioned that he was dealing with, I didn't want to go on record saying what his cause of his passing was and all.